After spending 700 million in 5 years, Mikel Arteta is yet to deliver a trophy for Arsenal. Arsenal fans are tired of trusting the process. His fans will always come up with excuses because they find it difficult to accept that he, Mikel Arteta, is just not good enough for Arsenal. He is the reason Arsenal will never win a trophy. Let's talk about it. Now, 700 million in 5 years of a rebuild project looks like a lot of money, except that it isn't. And I'll prove it to you if you listen to me with an open mind. Now, let's do a rebuild comparison to other clubs. It is important to consider that there are existing players and foundations before a rebuild happens. Now, since the typical player contract runs for 4 years, we are going to be using a sample size of 4 years before the rebuild. Let's start with Liverpool. This is very interesting as FSG are quite similar to the Kroenkes. Now, Liverpool's last rebuild was under Klopp, who came in mid-season October 2015. Liverpool were 10th and Klopp managed to finish that season 8th on the league table. 4 years before then, Liverpool had spent 406 million euros, while their highest league finish in that time was 2nd. Now, even though Klopp came in 2015, Liverpool's first full transfer window under him was in 2016, where they spent 79 million euros to kickstart his project. Poor. The following year, they spent 173 million euros, which makes it a total of 252 million in 2 years. 4 years into the rebuild, they had spent 446 million before their first league title, while breaking transfer records with Salah being the most expensive Liverpool signing as at then, while Van Dijk and Alisson were the most expensive defender and goalkeeper respectively in the history of football as at that time. These three players have remained instrumental till this very moment. Now, I would have preferred not to talk about Manchester United because they have had different managers at different times and I've given them little time, so we don't even know if they are doing a rebuild or not. However, to even things out, they tried to do a rebuild under Ten Hag. 4 years before then, Manchester United had spent 545 million euros with their best league finish being 2nd, while coming 3rd once. They spent 243 million to kickstart Ten Hag's rebuild. The following year, they spent 202 million, bringing the total to 445 million in 2 years for the rebuild. Now, let's go to Manchester City. We can't even call it a rebuild, but the last known rebuild of Manchester City happened under Pep Guardiola in 2016. 4 years before then, Manchester City had spent 488 million euros on transfers. Please note that their highest league finish 4 years before the rebuild was first in 2013, 2014, and in fact, they came 2nd twice before Pep came in. This was by far a very good squad inherited by Pep. Notwithstanding, Man City spent 216 million under Pep in the first year. The second year, they go on to spend 317 million, which brings the total to 533 million, and they go on to win the title the second season. 4 years into Pep's reign, they had spent 782 million. Now, come with me to Chelsea. I would have loved to reference Chelsea's rebuild that started under Abramovich, as it is the most established rebuild that they have had yet. But it's a long time before now, so I'd rather something more recent. I'll just go ahead and reference the rebuild under Todd Boehly. 4 years before then, Chelsea had spent 619 million, even though they had a transfer ban in 2019. The first year of rebuild, Chelsea immediately spent 621 million. The next year, they follow it up with another 448 million. 3 years into the rebuild, Chelsea have now spent 1.3 billion. Wow. Now to the elephant in the room, Mr. 700 million in 5 years. Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. You see, like Klopp, Arteta came in mid-season in 2019. 4 years before then, Arsenal had spent 506 million. The highest league finish in that time was 5th twice and 6th once. This is by far the poorest league finish of all rebuilds discussed. Arteta came in and picked the club from a 10th position, finishing 8th that season. His first full transfer window, Arsenal spent a whopping 86 million to kickstart the rebuild. Wow. The following year, Arsenal go on to spend 167 million euros, which brings the total to 253 million in 2 years. In 4 years, Arsenal under Mikel Arteta have spent 674 million euros, finishing 8th, 5th, and 2nd twice within that budget. In fact, if you factor that the transfer market has become largely inflated over the years, you would realize that 700 million in 5 years only sounds much to the ears. However, context would help you understand that it really isn't as much as you think it is. What has happened over the years has been the owners being mediocre at the willingness to spend and bring in top quality to indeed compete with the rest of the league. Of a sudden, they pull 700 million in 5 years, and it looks like big money to Arsenal fans because they have never been exposed to wealth in the club. I am Yoruba, and where I'm from, we call that Omoduro Lari. Surely, 700 million in 5 years does not sound much to Chelsea, Man United, or Man City fans. Yes, Arteta is due to deliver another trophy, but we cannot pretend that the owners have not been mediocre with spending over the years, as this has contributed to the pressure to win the league or the Champions League that is manifesting now at full scale. The truth is that you cannot always cheat the market. Manchester City are on course to spend about 200 million this winter alone. That's probably Arsenal's summer budget. Now, despite having a super squad that achieved 100 league points in 2017-2018, they have since then spent just 32 million short of what Arsenal have spent since Mikel Arteta had his first transfer window up until now. This is what Mikel Arteta has to compete with. Wow. Chelsea have now spent 1.3 billion in 3 years. 2 years from now, when they start winning trophies, we will still be here romancing 700 million in 5 years. You want to win like other clubs, you had better start spending like them.